Just yesterday, I was talking about an image of Varang that leaked apparently from the Avatar 3 trailer, but today it seems like the entire trailer is all over the internet, so let's talk about it. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And if you're hoping to see some of the images of that leaked teaser here, then I'm going to unfortunately have to disappoint you because I do not endorse sharing leaked images or videos. And since it's very likely that we will get the first trailer next week by the time Fantastic Four First Steps releases, I'm rather going to do a scene for scene breakdown and speculation in another video. Instead here, I just want to broadly talk about the leak itself, as most of what is in the leak corresponds with the description from people who attended CinemaCon. It's also not something that I can ignore because everybody is bringing it to my attention and I feel that it needs to be addressed. But like I said, I have no intent of showing any footage of any leaked stuff on my channel. Now, I didn't want to spoil the trailer for myself, so it's not like I watched it online over and over. It's more that I saw the leak and I saw what people said about it. But if you want to avoid any spoilers at all, if you don't want to know anything about the trailer until its official release, then I do urge you to click away and come back later because, like I said, I will just broadly and vaguely talk about the trailer, as I know Disney is also taking down any and all footage of that teaser, and as I said, I do not endorse sharing it. Therefore, I want to emphasize on the fact that I'm not going to share any images or videos on my channel. That said, the trailer is about 2.5 minutes long, so it is quite lengthy for a first teaser, as I believe the first teaser to Avatar The Way of Water was 1.5 minutes long, so it is a whole extra minute of footage that we get for our first look at Avatar Fire and Ash. And much like the footage that was shown at CinemaCon, the teaser does end with Varang saying, "Your goddess has no dominion here." That we already knew, and I cannot wait to see Una Chaplin as Varang because I'm fairly certain she's going to nail it in every single scene. Now, the teaser also shows somebody on an igloo swimming around the crashed sea dragon from the end of The Way of Water. So it'll be interesting to see the aftermath of that battle and just why they revisit that battle scene, because that is essentially where Neytiri died. Some of the descriptions out of the CinemaCon footage also described somebody walking up a mountain with a backpack with a volcano exploding in the background, and we know now that the person walking is Quaritch. I speculated that he goes to the Ash clan in this concept art, and that is also confirmed in the first teaser, where we can clearly see him approaching the Ash village. We also see the Ash clan approaching the RDA, and they don't seem scared at all. I'm not entirely sure if that is their first encounter or if this is essentially where they become allies, but I remember some of the description from the CinemaCon footage, people describing somebody essentially controlling fire, and I was kind of confused by that. I wasn't really sure if they misinterpreted what was happening, and since I only got a quick glance, it does seem like someone, most likely Varang, seems to manipulate fire, seems to control it at her fingertips. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that works. Maybe there's some sort of liquid or something that she has in her hands and it lights up and then she can essentially throw it. I'm not sure, I'm just speculating here because I don't really understand how she can control fire, as she is still Na'vi at the end of the day, and in theory fire should burn her skin unless the red paint on her forearms and hand is like kind of fire resistant paint, and that allows her to dip her hands in some sort of oil or something that can light up, and she can essentially just toss that oil towards somebody. I don't know, again, I'm just speculating on vague information, but we do see a quick glance at what seems to be, and this could potentially be a major spoiler, so do keep that in mind, what seems to be Jake on earth? I'm not entirely sure what's happening there, but it did seem like there was cameras flashing and it seemed like Jake was being held captive, so that will definitely be interesting. And they showed us a quick shot of the factory ship and a scene reminiscent of that of the Way of Water where Payakan jumps out of the water on top of the sea dragon. So it seems like something similar might happen to the factory ship. And then there's one massive air battle towards the end, and it also seems like Spider gets heavily injured and his mask gets damaged, something that I've speculated based on leaked scripts a long time ago. So if you've been watching some of my videos, you know already what my theory is in terms of what happens to Spider. And as the trailer comes to an end, it just says Avatar Fire and Ash, the IMAX 3D experience, only in cinemas December. So like I said, it wasn't exactly a frame by frame, scene by scene breakdown of the teaser because, well, it hasn't officially released and I didn't want to spoil it myself by watching it over and over. I just had a quick glance because it was almost unavoidable. It was everywhere on social media. It is pretty much still available everywhere if you just do a quick search for it, but I would recommend that you wait until the trailer officially releases, or if you go and see Fantastic Four First Step, which like I said releases next week, then they will probably release the teaser in front of that movie. I am surprised that the teaser leaked. I know with The Way of Water a similar thing happened where the teaser was attached to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I know it leaked as well, and then they just eventually released it online. But funny enough, despite them stating that the teaser to Avatar The Way of Water was released exclusively ahead of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when I went to watch that movie in the theaters, I actually did not get to see the trailer. It wasn't attached to the version that I watched. Granted, I didn't see it in IMAX, but nonetheless, it didn't show when I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So they may release it online regardless because, well, it is out there and I'm sure, well, I know that Disney is aware of it because anybody that posts the teaser online gets a copyright takedown notice, and rightfully so because, well, the trailer wasn't supposed to be released right now. I will have a full breakdown, a more detailed breakdown once I see the teaser for the first time at the cinema in higher quality. Then I will also have a better understanding of a lot of scenes, and of course once the trailer drops online, then I can also dive deeply frame by frame getting more details, because of course seeing it in high quality in the cinema next week is only going to give me a quick glance at everything, whereas once it's released online, then of course I can go through it frame by frame. It is unfortunate that this was the first time many people are seeing Avatar Fire and Ash, but based on what was said from the CinemaCon footage, from what everybody described what they saw at CinemaCon, it seems like this might have been what they saw. Many claimed that the footage that they saw at CinemaCon was a bit longer, so they probably saw one or two extended scenes, and then it ended with what they described as a sizzle reel, but I think it was probably the teaser, which is the one we see ahead of Fantastic Four, as, like I said, everything that people described was essentially in this first trailer. But are you waiting for the trailer to drop online, or will you be seated for Fantastic Four First Steps, specifically to see that teaser? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.